All right, Jules. Now we're gonna both pretend that we're bald. I'm closer to it than you are, I think. But let's channel our inner Stuart Robsons and play out the semifinal tactically. You touched upon this before. You expect low block, 70 odd percent possession for France.
Yeah, I think it's pretty simple. It's not a criticism at all of but what Morocco are going to do. This is what they've been doing so far against Spain and Portugal. They've got no reason to change because it's working really well. They are the best defense in this World Cup for a reason. Although he came under the previous manager, Valida Ilodzic, who defensively was very good and sort of like drilled them very well. And that is what they're going to do. And then play on the counter with Ziyech and Boufal and Niziri as well. Use the set pieces. For France, the key will be, for me, what they have in Spain and Portugal and Croatia and Belgium to a certain extent don't have or didn't have, is those two wingers very good on 1v1. So the key for France is to move the ball quickly, to go wide as quickly as possible, to move that low block that shuffles well, and then Dembele and Mbappe will go 1v1 against
No.
Hakimi and Mazraoui if he plays or someone else. And that's where I think you can hurt them because when Nico Williams, just to finish, came on for Spain, for example, in the last 16 game, that's really the only time where Morocco were on the back foot a little bit. They were not sure, and Nico was taking on Mazraoui with success, dribbling past him, putting crosses in the box. France will have Giroud in the box, and if Mbappe and Dembele can make those differences on the wings, then I think we create danger.
I would agree with you on paper. The one thing that I'm wondering a little bit, this is still Didier Deschamps, and he won the last World Cup, obviously by with a lower block and hitting on the break. Is he going to be tempted to go and attack and have the ball from the first minute, or might we see something where he says, you know what, I don't trust these guys, Ziyech, set piece, whatever. I know that they want to sit and hit us on the counter. I'm going to sit too. I'm going to sit too.
But then
And
there's nobody between the.
no, I like obviously it's not going to turn into a cartoon show, right? But instead of sending tail with the wingers and so on, just being more conservative himself, trying to draw them out that way.
Maybe I don't think so, but maybe that's an option. I mean, the French don't like being favorite for that reason. Is that they prefer hitting on the counter, but there's games where you can't do that when you are the better team, and that would be the case tomorrow. So I'd be surprised if even Morocco allow France to be able to hit them on the counter. That would be very crazy.
Well, because we saw them play with a higher line against in the quarterfinal against Portugal, relative to what they did against Spain as well.
Yeah,
So
true, but
I'm
because they didn't have players like Mbappe and Dembele to attack the space anyway, so it makes sense. You can't play a high line against France, or you're going to get really, really exposed, I think.
not a high line, but
No,
I mean,
but
yeah,
still.
I'm just throwing that out as a possibility
Yeah,
because
no,
Morocco have a
maybe.
coach who I think he's done it a certain way, but I think he can also be a bit unpredictable
But
because
then
he's got ballers, he's got people who can play.
True. I don't. I think the highest possession percentage is like maybe 40% in this
I'm
World
not
Cup.
necessarily high possession, but there is a way to think to be more direct,
No,
if
maybe.
possibly catch him by surprise a little bit. Is it more risky?
Maybe.
Yes, but you know what? How many times are you going to play in a semifinal? And if you get that
Yeah,
goal,
true, true.
and then you go and you turn it into the Alamo,
I'm more worried about the fact that France can't break the deadlock because Morocco defend very, very well again, and then we get frustrated, and then that's exactly what they want and what they feed off, and then I'm not sure what the French would do if they get frustrated and like lose their focus. I think that would be dangerous.
key man for Morocco, in my opinion, again, Castor and Pollux, a.k.a. Sofiane Amrabat and Unahi.
You said name that no one would know who they are.
I think we have a lot of very educated people in Greek mythology among our audience.
Gab, the referee for France v Morocco is the Mexican Cesar Ramos. Care to speculate about who might get the final then, considering who is staying, who is still here, and who's gone home?
You mistaking me for Dale Johnson here?
I think you love your referee like trivia.
So it's interesting because obviously
See? Already.
there were 12 referees left, right? So if you assume it's going to be somebody, I thought Ramos was going to get to the final because he was close to perfect. He got very high ratings thus far. And obviously the nice thing about having a Mexican referee in the final, you have somebody who's totally confederation neutral and whatever else.
And you can't get semis and final. No, that's not
No,
possible.
you can't get semis and final. So looking at who's left, bearing in mind that the other choice assignment, if you want, is the third place playoff. I think there's probably three potentials in terms of people who have not refereed since the group stage. One is the guy who I would have had as the favorite before the tournament. Again, depending which countries get knocked out and not, and that's Danny McAlee from Holland. Another one, potentially Anthony Taylor, from England, we haven't seen again.
The last time an Englishman refereed the World Cup final, we remember what happened.
I don't know who.
2010, Howard Webb.
Oh, that's right. Yes,
the Kung Fu kick that he's the only one in the whole
Nigel
of
de Jong and
not to have seen it.
Oh, but what about when Graham Poll refereed and gave out the 3 yellow cards?
Stop it.
I think Anthony Taylor's a good referee. It's interesting. McAlee was involved in a game where he was messed up. Where he made a mistake in the group game. I'm forgetting what group game it was.
Yeah,
but it looks like it was actually the VAR, Paul van der Buckel, who messed him up.
Okay.
So yes, if I had to guess, it's going to be one of those three: McAlee, Klaus, who's from Brazil, or Taylor. I think the one issue with McAlee is, remember there was so much McAlee's Dutch. There was so much aggro with Argentina and whatever, and the Dutch.
True.
Is this something that the referees committee would take into account? Colina, before the tournament, told us no, we're entirely independent, blah, blah, blah. You don't necessarily, in the past, they've avoided these situations.
Yeah.
It would be a shame if they do think he's the best referee for the final. It would be a real shame if he keeps him out.
I agree.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.